Alright, ladies and fellas, we are back for the second video of straw weaving, and these were the straws that I made in the last video, and these are the ones I'm going to teach you how to start your straw weaving on. But before we do that, we need to talk about how you actually put the strings on the straws and it stay in place. The easiest way I know to do that is to compare it to like ice skating. And I've got some paper here. I'm just going to grab a marker. Sometimes if you've ever watched ice skaters or you've ever ice skated, they do, I guess it's a technique called a figure eight. And the figure eight just kind of it's exactly what it says, you know, it's just an 8 and it just keeps going, you know, round and round. Or if you turned it sideways, it looks like an infinity symbol, which means forever. So if I turned an 8 sideways and wanted to do that, it would look kind of like this. You know, and I just keep going and keep going and keep going. Okay, so a figure 8 would be great if I just had 2 straws, okay? But we have 3 straws to wrap the string around. So we have to kind of add another loop to this. So, yeah, that would have been the first straw, that would be the second straw, but you know, I've got this third straw I've got to go around, so I'm just going to keep going like that. And then I'm going to do my figure 8 with my little extra bump. Just going around and around the straws with the yarn. So I would practice doing this first before I tried to put the string on the straws. So let's pretend those are my 3 straws again. I'm going to go over the first one, and then I'm going to go under the second one, and I'm going to go over the third one, but then I have to go back to the first one again. So that's straw 1, straw 2, straw 3. So I went over 1, under 2, over 3, and then I've got to finish my loop so I could go back again, because that's what we did here. Remember, we went all the way around, went all the way around, all the way around. So I got to go all the way around, and then it automatically puts me over the top of number 2, and then under number 1. But to go back again, I've got to go all the way around. Okay. And if this doesn't make sense right now, give me just a minute and it will, okay? So I got to complete the loop, or I'll have to complete the loop on this end to make sure it's wrapped completely around the straws. So, before I move that, let me show you. This would be where those 3 straws would go inside the colored string, okay? So the string on the outside that we're about to weave with is the string that people will actually see. The string that you put inside the straws doesn't really matter because it's going to get wrapped up inside the weaving, okay? So you've got your first, second, and third, 1, 2, and 3 straws, and then you just start with some yarn that you like. This was some variegated, I think. It's like got different colors in it. I'm not a real big fan of it, especially when we're doing weaving projects when I want my kiddos to have solid colors. But I mean, this is what I have, so I'm going to use it. To start the weaving, you need to tie your colored yarn onto the first straw, okay? And it's just like tying your shoelaces. You're going to tie it once, and then instead of making a bow, you're just going to cross your strings again into a double knot. That's twice. So now, if I tug on this a little bit, you know, it's not going to come off my straw because it's knotted in place right there. If you wanted to, you can trim a little bit of this tail, but don't cut right next to the knot, because if you do that, the knot can come untied, and then how are you going to tie it back? Okay, so I'm going to leave like just barely a little tail right there. You can see it right there. Okay, so my string is tied to my first straw, and then there's my second and third. So just like we did in the practice, you know, I'm going to go over the first one, under the second, over the third, but then I got to keep my infinity symbol going forever, okay? So over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, okay? So I recommend, I am right-handed, so I hold my straws in my left hand and I use my right hand to weave with. If you are left-handed, you will probably want to hold your straws in your right hand and then move the string with your left. That's just kind of how it goes. But I am right-handed, so I'm going to start by holding them in my left hand and holding my colored string with my right hand. And I kind of hold them like I would if I were playing cards, because I want a little bit of space between these when I start. I mean, I don't want this much space between these straws. I want just enough that I can slip a piece of yarn in between them, okay? And this happens to be the yarn I'm going to slip. This is going to slide a little bit. This is not that big of a deal, okay? If it slides, just don't let it slide all the way off just yet, okay? So here I go. So just like with the drawing, I'm going to go over the first one. So I'm going to hold these up so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to go, there we go. Here's my string. I'm just going to go over the first one like that. And then I'm going to go under the second one. Okay, so there it is, under the second. Now I'm going to go over the third. So I went over, under the second, over the third, and then I got to go all the way around, remember from the drawing. So I'm going to go all the way around. I'm going to go between the third and the second one, and then I'm going to go between the second and the first one, and then I'm going to go all the way around number one. Then I'm back out here on the underside, so I'm going to go under 2. I'm going to go over 3. But to go back again, I've got to keep it going, so I'm going to go all the way around. Make sure you can see what I'm doing here. It's starting to look like this, okay? I'm going to go between 2 and 1, all the way around. I'm going to go between 1 and 2. Go behind 2, between 2 and 3. Go all the way around so I can go back in the middle again. I'll be honest, getting the first string on the straws is the hardest part, because the straws want to like wiggle on you, and they want to move all around, and they don't want to stay put, and they slide, and they just drive you crazy. But once you get this first string on, it will get easier to weave, because then the yarn that you're weaving with right now holds the straws in place. And see, I just reached up here with my finger. Now you guys have to remember, I've done probably 200 or more of these in my lifetime so far, and this is the first one you've ever done. So if I am moving too fast for you, just back the video up for just a minute, and you will, and my computer turned off. You'll be able to like just repeat that same first few steps, okay, until you get it. And sometimes we need a little help getting started. So if you have grown-ups around who are watching this video with you, grown-ups, if you wanted to help them get started with the first maybe 3 or 4 little rows here, after you get about 4 on there, the straws will hold still so that the kids can keep working. But it really is, a kid's project. If you wanted to work along with them, you can make one also, and I think that would be a great thing for you guys to do together, especially if you're fortunate enough to get to be at home with your kids while they're doing their virtual learning. If not, if you're a grandparent or an aunt or an uncle or a friend of the family who's just helping out, I'm sure these kids would love to see what you can do too. So I am about to run out of string, and when this happens, there's a couple things you can do. You can tie a new piece onto here and keep going, or you can just let it kind of hang off for a little while, and I can show you a way to tuck them in to the weaving when you finished, and then it gives a more smooth and even look when people can't see the knots. But either way is fine. It really doesn't matter. This being the first one, you might just want to knot this like a balloon knot onto the next piece of string and then just keep going. So I'm going to pause this for a minute and finish my strings up to here, and then I'm going to show you what happens when you start to run out of straw at the bottom and you start to think, oh no, this is going to fall apart, but it really isn't. So I'm going to do that, and then I will come back and show you what to do next. Alright, so I've gotten 1, 2, 3 pieces of yarn on here, and you can see it's really close to the bottom now, and you can see that I could probably fit another piece up here at the top. And this is a lot of times where you will ask me, well, I filled up my straws. What do I do now? Well, okay, that's why you have these long strings hanging down below it. And I wanted you to see the back of my weaving where I've left these little tails sticking out. It's really going to be okay. Trust me, okay. So what's going to happen is you're going to start to like push these down because you need more space to do your weaving. Because by now you've got your third piece on and you're probably just rocking along now, and so you don't want to stop now because it's fun and you like doing it. So I'm just going to continue with this one piece, and every now and then I stop and I kind of scooch my strings down. And what's going to happen is it's slowly going to start to work its way down off the bottom of my straws. Do you see right there? It just happened. All right. And it's fine. That's what it's supposed to do. Okay. That way you can keep weaving this for as long as you want it to be. I mean, you could stop right now and have a really cool like little bookmark or bracelet, or just something to hang on your backpack, or whatever, or you can keep going and you can have kind of like a belt or a strap for something, or if you did more straws, you could have like a scarf. If you did probably 4 more straws wide, you'd have something wide enough that you could wear for a scarf. I'm just going to keep adding here to this. There we go. So this is kind of what it should look like at this point. It's starting to like slide down right here, and this is where you do kind of need to be careful, because you don't want this to slide down all the way to like the end of your strings, because this is all going to get really messed up in here. So if this starts to happen, you know, your weaving starts to look like this, okay, this is what you do to fix it. Okay, here's the top. I'm going to slide this out of the way, and I'm going to hold these long strings that I put inside the straws. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to pinch my fingers on it, like pretending I'm cutting it with scissors, but it's my fingers, and I'm just going to slide that back up. Okay? That's all you have to do. Don't let this get like out of control and all carried away. You know, as you weave, you know, it's supposed to get longer, and if you don't let it slide off the strings, it's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to be any longer. So I'm looking for another piece of string here. Oh, well, I guess I'll use this one. Okay. So, you know, that's something else too. Let me just stop myself while I'm in thought here. So this one just ended on this side. So I'm just going to lay my string with it, and I'm just going to keep going, because I know I'm going to fix this later when you know, it's finished and it's as long as I want it to be or whatever. So I'm just going to keep going. There we go. Okay, so there you go. In my next video, I will show you when you're finished how to take it off and how to fix these little dangly ends if you haven't been knotting them in. So there we go. That's video 2 on straw weaving, and I hope this helps. And if it doesn't, or you have questions, you guys know how to reach me. And I will see you next time. Thanks.